Hey, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another video. Now today, I'm going to be providing you guys with an update on the 2000 Acura Integra GSR. And if you guys haven't seen the previous video on this car, I'd really recommend checking it out, and I'll make sure to leave a link above. So we made a lot of really good progress in the last video, and if you guys didn't see it, this car was a complete biohazard.
Can I drive this? I have to drive this. This is so disgusting, so bad.
Now, one of the drawbacks about living in the Pacific Northwest is moisture. It's always raining here. I mean, you guys know this in the comments. You guys are always telling me, why is it always raining? Why is it always raining? I don't make the rules, man. I just ended up to live here. And what happens, especially with a lot of cars, is you get a lot of mold and mildew that develops. But in this one, I've never seen anything like this before. It was just unbelievable. And now we were able to diagnose this, take all the stuff out. So I took out the seats and we did a full interior restoration on the inside. And now I'm actually gonna be sending this car off to get bodywork very soon. But I did want to show you guys some of the stuff that I did off camera right before we send this off. Do you guys like the detailing stuff? I know I've been kind of tinkering more with the idea of maybe bringing some more detailing content to this channel. Of course, you guys find it amusing and funny that this car is a biohazard, but seriously, this time I did not mean for this to happen. This was a complete mistake. I got very sidetracked by the other video projects that I've been working on, especially with the Ep.6. So I'll show you guys what the car looks like right now, and then we can go from there. And for those that didn't see the previous video, what essentially happened with this one is that moisture got trapped on the inside and it basically created mold all over the interior. So it started out in the trunk, and I believe what happened is it had something to do with the taillight gaskets. And it's a pretty common issue that fails on these. The rubber gets crumbly and it protects water from getting all the way down right below the spare tire. But as you guys can see now, it's not 100% perfect, but it's definitely a lot better than it once was before. So you can see things like the leather is still pretty cracked on the seats. I think that there's gonna be little spots that I probably missed and stuff, but there's still a long way to go in terms of getting this thing back to where I would consider it to be in a really good state. But at least there's no mold. It doesn't smell bad at all. And for those that were wondering and asking, especially in the comments, like, what do you do in this instance if your car gets this bad? Do you just throw it away? Do you completely gut it out? And I mean, that's completely up to you. That's gonna be a decision based on just what you wanna do in terms of moving forward with it. I would say that you can really fix anything, you know? It's just a matter of how much time and effort you wanna put into it, because this is gonna be a long, tedious process. And you also wanna be making sure too that you use an ozone machine, just with the windows cracked like so, sunroof cracked, and was able to extract all the bacteria. There's certain chemicals and enzymes that you can also put in here too that helps kill off the bacteria. And then there's also some stuff that you can spray in the vents, because a lot of people were gonna mention too how the HVAC system is probably completely compromised. But luckily, I was able to spray all that stuff down, and it made a huge, tremendous difference. So when you sit in here, it doesn't smell moldy or weird. It's a very neutral smell, and that's something that is very desirable, especially when you're gonna be detailing a car like this. Now, what I did off camera and what I'm gonna have in some short form videos for you guys is the engine bay, and it was completely covered in dust. It wasn't disgusting, there wasn't like a lot of oil sludge or anything like that, but there was just a lot of built up gunk over the years. And I'm sure after sitting in an auction yard, and the fact that it also came from a very dry place like Arizona, that there was just a lot of stuff collecting in here. So I didn't go crazy, I didn't pressure wash this or anything, but what I did is I just used compressed air to really just use that to kind of guide out all the little pieces here and there. I was gonna say cracks and crevices, but I noticed you guys in the comments were making fun of me for saying that so much. But in all seriousness though, it helps a lot with just diverting a lot of the degreasers and stuff that I used on here to, you know, get through all these little cracks. And the engine bay actually looks very good. You know, it's kind of refreshing to see a fully stocked GSR untouched that hasn't been messed with too much. So do feel really grateful there for that. Mechanically, it fires right up. I mean, I can even start it right now. I think that's my favorite thing with this car, that all this trials and tribulations that it's been through is the fact that it still just fires right up every time. But maybe I just jinxed myself. Where's the key? And I also replaced the ignition too, which is a huge addition. You remember last time in here is all just disassembled and it looked kind of funky, but now it looks great, you know, just like it would come from the factory. Yeah, look at that. Only a Honda goes through all this torture. It still sounds amazing. Very smooth engine. I mean, these are legendary for a reason. Dual overhead cam, VTEC unit. This is the B18C1 that came factory on all the GSRs. A lot of people like to do these swaps because you can put them in a Civic, put them in a CRX, you can put them in a Wago van. I mean, they're the B series, you know? It's a very legendary series of the engine. A lot of people moving over to the K series, but if it wasn't for the B series, we wouldn't even have the K series. And there's a reason why these are so legendary. Yeah, what a smooth thing. I mean, I put my hand right here. You barely feel any pulses coming off of this. Very nice example. But one thing that's unfortunate is I think I forgot the radio code. I'd have to look back in the older videos to see if I actually put it in. But I think that's something I might have to take to the dealership to give them a call to see if I can bypass this code. Because that's something that I just wasn't thinking about at all. But after taking out the battery and putting it back in, I lost the radio. It's very difficult to close the hood because somebody, I think from the auction, they put a jump box on top of this. They put it right here and then they completely forgot and they slammed the hood and it ruined the shape of the hood. So it's only something that you really get to see up close and personal. And then there's also this dent here on the fender that needs to be resolved as well. And then most of the damage, I would say, is back here because I think at one point this was resprayed, and I had Eric kind of give me some more details on this car, and he was actually the previous owner of this before all this stuff happened, and he was the one that sold it on Cars and Bids. So he did a really, really good job of keeping this in such a prime example that it could go up for auction on Cars and Bids. But it's pretty evident that they hit something back here. So this whole fascia right here will need to be pulled back out. The trunk, luckily it still latches, but you can see a lot of the panel gaps that are happening here, which is very unfortunate. And then I don't know if they're parallel parking or if they're just not a very good driver, whoever decided to steal this, but they completely ruined this rear bumper too, which is really a shame. Or it could have been a part of the accident too that happened here that caused this damage as well. Some other things worth mentioning too is the rubber on the side. You can see kind of bowing out like this. I think it's a pretty common issue. Even my four-door Integra way back in the day used to do that too. So I don't know if these also need to be replaced, and if maybe you can even find these now. And that's kind of the sad part about these cars is they're considered like vintage. So half the battle is just finding these that's not completely destroyed. You can still find them in part outs and stuff, but I don't know if this is a trim that's going to be vehicle specific to the GSR. But at least it kind of gives you an idea of where we're starting off with this. And then we also have a dent here in the left quarter panel. So I think the approach that we're going to have to this at least is we're going to take it out to get professional dent repairs. So this is going to be through a mutual friend. I actually haven't met this guy for the first time, so I'm just kind of going off the judgment of my friends. But I do have quite a bit of trust and judgment in my friends being able to find somebody that could do this car some justice. So we're going to be taking it out of here and we will safely transport it over, and I'll probably stick over there until it's done. And then we'll bring it back here with the idea of actually going through full exterior detail and be able to get through all the parts that I missed. So I didn't go too crazy with it, you know, especially on the outside. I did give it a wash, just like a pretty easy with the foam cannon, removed a lot of the contaminants and stuff, but we can kind of go crazy with this one and experiment with it at least. I was thinking like, you know, full clay bar, cutting, polishing, maybe even seal it off with some ceramic coating, and maybe I'll kind of leave it up to you guys in terms of what we should do with this car. And I know that we're already kind of hitting the finish line with this one because it doesn't have some horrendous problems with it. It's not completely falling apart. And of course, yeah, there is a little bit of me that's curious in the idea of being able to modify this thing and do some fun stuff with it. But I think it would really be an injustice for this particular example. and maybe you guys can let me know in the comments. But I think really this is just going to be a restoration and maybe just a catch and release. Probably make some more videos, taking it out, driving it, enjoying it. But at the end of the day, there's so many projects going on here, so many different cars that I just don't know how long it's gonna stick around on the channel. So it is a beautiful car. It is very nostalgic. My first car was a 4-door Acura Integra. I mean, this is, you know, the pinnacle of what I would have wanted as a teenager. So it's weird to say this stuff, but sometimes you just have to be able to be open to the idea that, you know, everything is temporary. And that's just kind of how life goes, you know? Everything in this life is temporary. And even with the cars, we all think that, you know, we're gonna keep these things forever and do whatever. But, you know, we'll get to a point where it'll be all cleaned up and nice and fun and take it out and enjoy it. And then, you know, we probably have to move on to something else. So in the meantime, I'm just trying to kind of bask in it a little bit and enjoy it for what it is. And I really love this environment. I am super duper grateful for Mr. Details Auto Salon for giving us this space. And I think this will be a good place to conduct some more sandbox experiments, not just with this car, but with the upcoming stuff that I have with the Civic. I know that I owe you guys an update on that one, but just know that I just bought a K20 Z3 transmission, and I have some big plans for that one. I'm not gonna give everything away. I probably already gave away too much there, but at least this will kind of give you an idea of where my head's at. So comment down below, what do you guys think about this build? What do you think we should do with this car? Are you guys enjoying this stuff, or are you getting kind of sick of the Honda content? You guys gotta let me know, because that's the only way that I'm ever gonna know what to keep making on here. So in the meantime, I really do appreciate you guys. This was just a very quick update. Quick and dirty. We're gonna be taking it out to get the body work done. We'll bring it back in here. We'll finish it off. We'll make it look really nice. I'm sure we'll have plenty of driving videos, and I'm sure I'm gonna get the itch, and we're gonna take it to autocross and do all that fun stuff with it. But for right now, I'm sure this is gonna be a moment I look back on and be like, man, you know, I was looking forward to this so much, and then it'll be done. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for more. Check out our merch, which I will also leave linked down below, as well as all the other stuff that I always link in my videos. But I really appreciate you guys, and take care.